would recommend this course to everybody. I think it's good for new agents like myself.
I wanted to learn the secret that all agents had, all successful agents had. And I got more than that.
Another day one. Monday, another day one. Start every single day as if it was your first day, and you'll be successful.
Signature!
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Northwest office for this great episode of our signature life stuff, of our office meetings. Woo, woo, woo. Thank you for coming. A great breakfast. Brandon, thank you so much. If you're watching this on YouTube, once again, you miss out on the live stuff. So with that, let's get this going with Jennifer from Prosperity to give us some up-to-date information on what the heck is happening in the financial world of lending. Please, and talk by the clock.
Hi, Jennifer with Prosperity Lending. It's my first time talking, so I'm just a warning. But today I'm going to let you guys know that we do now can offer reverse mortgages.
Woo!
We don't send them out anywhere. We can do them in-house. I know a lot of people might not realize you can also use them for a purchase. It's not just a refinance. So if you have a borrower that's struggling with DTI, they have the assets where they can put down a substantial down payment. We can get them in with a reverse mortgage to help them offset those costs and everything like that. They do have to be 62 and over. It is not.
Oh, sorry.
It is not FICO or credit driven. They do play a part in it, but that's not like a regular conventional FHA VA loan where that's, big hard stops. So it plays a small role, but they're not, I don't know what word I'm looking for. That's not the main focus on them. You do need residual income. So that's going to be a bigger thing than your credit and your DTI. It's making sure after all your payments, you do have residual income. On FHA, there's a possibility you need 2 appraisals, but that's just going to be based off on the first one and how that comes in. Let's see, there are no monthly payments, so the principal and interest is not a monthly payment. The homeowner is still responsible, though, for your HOA, your property taxes, and your homeowner's insurance. So that's a big thing. A lot of people don't realize that. After you get the reverse mortgage, it is in there until you have a life-altering event happen, which is either they sell, they move, death, or something like that. Interest rates just market-based. There's no any special programs or anything like that. Do you have any questions?
No, but I got a comment.
Yes.
So reverse mortgages, if you're not looking to pass on generational wealth, this is not the program for you, right? Normally it eats up all the equity, but if you have a property or something that is an additional that you need to use, that you're not worried about passing on generational wealth, then it's a great idea. Life-altering event truly is usually on these things, death. One of my best REO clients is a reverse mortgage company that handles it for Fannie or for HUD, and every single one, the person who got the loan finally passed on, and the kids were upside down, or there was no money in it for them to sell it as part of the will or the estate or anything else. So just know that there are some good things and some great things. I think it's a great idea if you need the money, but if it's something, if your goal is to pass on generational wealth, then not necessarily the best program in the world, because you're using it while you're alive, right? And I get it. Some people say you can't. What are you going to do? Pack your casket full of cash? No, I won't be. But because you can't take it with you. All right.
Any other questions?
So the first mortgage, so what happens? So the person that you they still have to make a monthly payment, or they have to pay for the tax HOA, and then what happens to the, equity that they have in the home?
So what's gonna happen is there is no monthly payment that's due for your principal and interest. It's gonna depend on how they set up their reverse mortgage, if they wanna do lump sum payment, or if they want kind of like a line of credit, or if they want a set amount each month that's coming back to them. So you can set it up different ways like that. So there's no principal and interest, but they do have to pay their homeowners insurance, or I'm sorry, the homeowners association, homeowners insurance, and their property taxes. So our property taxes are due 4 times a year, so they'll pay those 4 times a year. Homeowners insurance will be due once a year, so when that policy becomes due, they'll pay that. Same with HOA, whether they pay it quarterly or monthly, some of them might pay yearly, but however those payments are due, it is the owner's responsibility to pay that. When you have that event happen that's going to put a stop on it, at that point, say you've used 200,000 of your reverse mortgage, the property's worth 400,000. Well, now you're going to sell that property, or the kids, want to buy it, somebody like that. It's just like a purchase. So then you have a mortgage like you're refinancing. The bank's going to want their money back, whatever's left over is going to come back to however it's set up.
So you have to have a certain amount of equity left in your property for you.
You have to have a certain amount of equity in the property, yes. I don't have the exact numbers on that. It's going to be based probably about the whole credit application, but you do have to have a certain amount of equity in there to be able to do it. So if you only have $10,000 of equity, there's not going to be enough equity in there to have a reverse mortgage.
I think typically it's 50%. Right.
Is it 50?
So, got it? Any other questions? Because reverse mortgages have always been complicated, and they are finally coming to more mainstream America because we have so much equity in our homes that it makes sense for it. You have to be careful on who you use to get a reverse mortgage, because there are some charlatans out there that will take you to the bank literally. In the past, it has been highly, how do I want to say that? There's no way of saying this. A lot of people were taken advantage of in the past with these reverse mortgages because, one, they're aged, they don't understand all the technology and everything else to get taken advantage of. So it's nice to see somebody like Prosperity getting into the game that we know they won't be taking advantage of us, and if they do, we know whose ass to kick, right?
Tony.
Right. So be a little bit more comfortable in this thing, because it is a complicated thing. And your clients, if you're talking about something like this, really need to have that conversation with them, because it is serious. It is a life-altering change as far as mortgages and the concept at the end of having to have your, especially if you pass on, they got to deal with that. And now deal with how to get rid of your property that may or may not have enough equity to be able to sell. Okay, so good deal.
Thank you.
Thank
Any other questions? Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you. So now let's go to wants and needs. Do we have anybody that wants it? Well, everybody wants something, right? Let's do. Anybody got any buyers or sellers? What's going on? You guys sound like the market right now. Flat. Nothing? There you go. Come on up. Come on up. Look, we're going to talk about social media. You're coming up.
Okay, so I have a client who's doing an exchange.
Uh-huh.
His property is on the market in Arizona, and he's looking for something now, and he has $8 million,
$8 million.
and that's it.
And he has to come here and he has to buy? He's doing an exchange. Is the stuff sold yet?
No.
Or is he still finding?
He's
still
it's on
identifying?
the market, so
Right.
he's identifying right now,
Cool. Very nice.
and he only wants to buy in Nevada.
Smart person. Anybody else? Really? Janet, you got anything? Janice? Okay. So let me fill a few. Oh, you know what? You know what else we have here? I forgot Chicago Title. I'm looking at it going, oh, thank you, Chicago Title, for being here. We appreciate all that you do and making sure that our titles are nice and clean. All right. So I was in DC last week. I'll give you a quick update of what we did because I got to practice it anyway. We had a great legislative meeting. It was a little bit different this year in that normally when we go to Washington, D.C., we end up getting on buses and go to the Capitol, and we have a room where we all are able to sit at and have our representatives come and talk to us one at a time. We haven't been able to do that since 2019 before COVID. This year would have been the first year that we would have been able to do it because the Capitol has been closed up until now to have those kinds of meetings. NAR decided to have a huge block party at National Stadium at the ballpark and invite the staffers. In the lobbying world, there's two ways to get your message across. One, talking directly in a very small amount of time to your representative directly, or you get the staffer to see your way of thinking, and they work on the representative 24/7 to get your message across, right? So a lot of lobbying groups end up having specific events for staffers, right? And you got the mind of a staffer, 20 some odd years old, enamored with the way America works and how politics works, is willing to live with several other people in a small room, sharing and living the best college life, if you can think of it that way, and trying to make ends work because they don't make that much money. So they're very, very appreciative of when someone pays attention to them. And usually, once you're in that world, you rotate around and move around from representative to representative, right? Because we have elections and some are gone and some, stay, but they move around. So today's scheduler may be tomorrow's chief of staff or legislative person for somebody else in the future. So it's important to not only, I'm gonna get in trouble. That's okay. Politicians come and go, right? Because they have a short shelf span of either 2 years or 6 years, and they have to get reelected. Staffers, they're there forever. They're there for 20, 30, 40 years if they're any good at what they do, right? They come in young and they leave old. So it's I think it's a great play. We had not only Congressman Horsford actually show up with his staff, we had the staff from Senator Masto and Congressman Amadei, and who else was there? Who's the other one I'm missing? No, Jackie and Susie Lee didn't make it. But everybody, Dina Titus, thank you. So we thought it was a great event. It was different, right? So there's always that, it's not the way we used to do, so our cheese has been moved. So some people liked it, some people didn't like it. I can tell you they had to kick out the staffers at the end of the night, right? It was time for them to go, and they had to actually usher them out to say, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here kind of thing, right? So I think it was a good event. We had some great meetings with everybody, and just know that affordable housing is on the minds of everybody. It may be on everybody's minds. It's hard to get from the mind to the actual physicalness of having the ability to build more homes, because we're still millions and millions of homes shy, not across this great nation. So with that was a quick legislative up week, and that took a week to get through. And it was, I hardly ever saw Janet or Brandon, right? Because we're all in our different little rooms, learning all about different kind of stuff and having our committee meetings and all that good stuff. Ellie, what'd you think of it?
That was fantastic. Much better than last year.
You know, Ellie had a great, video from the infield, right? Because they had the outfield sort of covered with something to protect the grass, right? I was wondering how they were going to do that, right? Because how you have a bunch of people stomping with high heels. I know that field needs aeration, but holy mackerel. Janet.
The first Tuesday in June, for my office meeting, I'm gonna have a panel that went to DC, and we're gonna talk about our different experiences.
Ooh, very nice. That's a way to lay off a meeting so you don't have to do it.
I'll be there.
All right, so I know you all came here to listen to social media and how to become that social media rock star, right?
Yes.
All right, good. So with that in point, the biggest issue with having anything is content, right? How do you find the content? What's the content? Forget about how you look, right? You look the way you look. You sound the way you sound. You're still lovable in your own way, right? Even I am lovable in my own way, and it's people are still wondering how that happens. So let me just tell you, one, get over yourself. You are who you are, and don't worry if you flub up a word, right? When I'm talking here, I'm flubbing up a lot of words, right? I mean, we don't want to go to the Biden extent, but just having the shortness of being able to talk the way you talk with all your little quirks is okay. It doesn't always have to be perfect, but it has to be perfectly you, right? If you're going to get on the camera and all of a sudden become this, I can read like this, Jane went up the hill, you're sucking, right? Be you, know what you're going to be saying, have a teleprompter, practice reading a teleprompter in the mirror to watch yourself, right? If you need to have that comfortability of what you look like and what facial expressions you have or tics or whatever kind of weird thing that you think you have, doesn't matter. It's you because you've had it for years and we all see it and it's okay, right? So get over yourselves is the number one thing. Next thing is that you guys need to be a curator of content. I love this one. A curator of content, not ripping off people, but a curator of content. Find the content anywhere you can think of, whether it be books, other videos, anything, right? ChatGPT to help give you an idea of what to say, right? As we build the content, because that's going to be your hardest mind mess is going to be, I don't know what to say, so I'm not going to do anything at all. I don't know what to put out, so I'm not going to do it at all, right? You can't give in to that, right? Even if you just say, you get on and start doing a quick video just to say, hey, I'm here, business is great, I'm looking forward to helping you out when you have a need, is okay, right? You put something out so that it triggers, because let's face it, and I love this saying, unless you got $10,000 a month for a billboard, you've got to work $10,000 worth of time, effort, and energy to be able to find the business, right? Because you can either pay someone to do it for you or pay yourself and do it yourself, all right? So that's the discipline part, right, is to make sure we do it. Let's talk about consistency. How often should you be posting? Anybody have any ideas? 3 times a day? It's a lot of damn content. Once a day? There's some, yeah, and there's a, I don't want to give out the answer because I have a nugget coming out on that one. But let me just tell you, you can start with as little as once a day. There are people that are up to 3 times a day. It doesn't matter as long as you start. But once you start, you got to keep on going, right? Everybody knows that my nuggets come out on Thursday. Now, it may hit Facebook on Friday, but by Saturday, I'm literally getting text messages on where the heck's your nugget, right? Because they weren't able to, it wasn't in their feed. So if they know it's always coming out, then you'll have people look at it, right? And we've gone from having the full 15-minute nugget or 10-minute nugget, whatever it is, and now we're cutting them down to reels, which is just a quick thought, right? So I'm repurposing my long nugget that everybody's so used to on Thursdays to a quick clip of one of the thoughts that were in there, and repurposing that and putting that out to add to the fact of people seeing the nuggets, right? So I'm not doing the extra work. I'm taking the work they've already done, chopping it up, and putting it out there for additional consumption, right? So once you have your content, then you can repurpose it, right? You don't have to do a separate reel for Instagram and a separate reel for TikTok and a separate reel for Facebook. You know, you can do the same one, put it all in, and all of a sudden you're across all the social barriers and becoming the star that you want to be. Now, there is some mixed thoughts on, well, do I have a business page or do I have a personal page? Which do I do? Right? Facebook says business stuff is supposed to be on business. But I put all my stuff on my personal page because that's got almost 5,000 people on it, and my business one only probably has about 1,000 or so. So you can start it on your business and share it to your personal one, however you want to do it, but make sure you cross that threshold of that separation so that the people that are truly your friends, family, and like you, know you, and trust you see that you're still in real estate, and those that are signed up on your business page see that you're still the true professional that you are, because that's all this is, right? Is to make sure that people, one, remember what it is that you do every day to put food on the table. Okay? Time blocking. You need to have a time set aside for you to be able to do these videos. Now, I don't have enough time to be able to do all these videos on a weekly thing or a daily thing because I got business I'm doing. Absolutely correct. But I know that there's a time in your day, someday during the week, where you can take the time to push out a bunch of content. Because once you get into the flow shit of stuff, then it automatically keeps on going, and you get better and better and better and better at it once you're in the flow of doing it. So you'll find that the first video that you do isn't quite as good as the last video you do, but that's okay. It's still you, right? So make sure that you do a run of video to help with your time management, all right? Let's talk about some ways to market yourself, right? Let me ask you guys, what are some of the ways that you guys go about marketing yourself? And speak loud so the microphone picks you up, and don't be shy because this is interactive. Videos. What else? Yes.
Listreports.com.
What again?
Listreports.
Listreports.com? Cool.
Good material.
Right.
Sponsored by
Right. There's a bunch of different companies out there that put out marketing material for you. For those that have a hard time being a curator of content or are worried about figuring out where you can rip off the ideas to make your own, it's, no, you guys aren't seeing this, but the attorney in the room is like shaking his head, putting the hand to his face, going, I can't believe I'm gonna have to try to undo this. But, you know, let's face it, I don't think there's been how do I want to say this, an independent thought by any of us, right? Because we're always redoing and repurposing somebody else's stuff that we saw and trying to make it our own, right? So I don't think we're ripping off anybody. We're just making sure that we put it into our own words and our own thoughts. Yes.
To that point, I like to take articles about the industry, about what's going on, paraphrase them, but attribute it according to so-and-so at the Review Journal. That way, you're getting more eyeballs, because if you put a link to the newspaper, the algorithm will not share that as well as it's an original post. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And even if it's a photograph, I take a photograph from the Review Journal, whatever, I attribute the photographer, I attribute the author, and I just do bullet points what they talk about, and I've had pretty good engagement that way.
Cool. Who else? What kind of content are you guys putting out now? Come on, share. Huh? New builds. So when you say new builds, you mean going out to
Taking my client through their new build.
oh, right. So you've got a client, they're building a home, and you're walking through that and videotaping it.
And I use it all the time, like every time I go through all
So has anybody,
model homes.
so has anybody gone to a model home place and asked, hey, do you mind if I shoot video in here? Huh? Yeah. Worked out okay?
DrivePoint encourages it. They actually will do a giveaway if you tag them in the video.
Right. So what excuses do we all have for not at least going to every single new home track and putting out, could you imagine how many weeks you could get from doing a 7-home model home tour and doing one home period, right? A day or a week or whatever. I mean, holy mackerel. And what a way to, one, provide value, two, you become the expert because you're the one walking them through the model home, and three, you're getting people to think, oh, I love that living room. I'd love to be there, right? As they look at their lousy, carpet that's all dirty and, sofa that's all beat the heck by the dogs and the kids. And they're looking at this pristine little model home that has undersized furniture so it looks like it'll fit everything. But it, you can't. Right? So perfect thing. Some of the things that I've come up with, seminars or webinars on the buying or selling process, right? I'm sure, I can almost guarantee that we have community or partners here in this room that would help put on a seminar to those that have the need to either buy or sell a home, right? The question becomes, are you willing to put yourself in front of a group of people to allow them to get to know you, to allow you to help them, right? That's pretty philosophical, huh? You've got to be able to put yourself out there. Two ways. One, you pay somebody else to do it for you, or you do it yourself, right? Only way to get business. Pay somebody else, do it yourself. I'm pretty damn expensive, so I'd rather pay somebody else. But that's another story. All right. YouTube channel. How many people have YouTube channels? Raise your hand. Oh, look at that. Right? It's okay to have 20 views. Right? It doesn't matter. If someone Googles you, right, you're going to come up and they'll see it. How many people have Googled themselves lately? Right? Are you happy with what it says? Good. Because let me tell you, other people are Googling you. So if you don't know what happens, and I've even gotten specific. I say, if you want to Google me, please put Thomas Blanchard and put Las Vegas. Because otherwise, all kinds of great philosophers and doctors come up other than me. Right? And that's not me. So make sure you guys have your videos showcasing your stuff and just build, right? And it's okay to have okay content, right? It's still you and you have something there. Somebody that wants to get really committed is launching a podcast. I know Ellie's had his, how long have you had your podcast running, Ellie? How many years? Huh?
Couple years.
2 years, right? Weekly, right? I know it seems like a lot, but it's, again, you have to have, one, the time blocking, and two, the discipline to do it and continue on doing it so that people wonder where it's at when they don't see it, and they'll go out looking for it. Participating in community events. If you're not part of community outreach or some of the other association committees that are out there doing stuff, there is no better way to help get you over yourself than hanging out with other people that have the same issues, right? Everybody who's out there trying to do stuff for the community is still trying to get over their inner worries and their thoughts about themselves, but are out there doing something good and getting back out there again since COVID, dealing with other people. So please put yourself out there, participate, and get to know other people, because no one's getting business sitting on the couch watching Netflix, right? Not unless you have some camera crew in your house doing some reality show. Sitting on the couch at home is not going to get you any kind of business. Trust me. We saw that happen in COVID. There were people that stayed at home and watched Netflix and suffered, and there were others that tried to figure out how to get around the barriers that were being put up for us to be able to continue doing business. So stop becoming your own barrier and get out there and do the things that we need to do to make sure people know that you're still in the business, right? Newsletters. How many people put out newsletters? 1, 2, 3, 4. What's a newsletter? Janet puts one out every week. We always wonder what happened to it when it doesn't show up, right? You're going to see some similarities, right? What's the difference between a podcast or a blog or a video newsletter, right? You can see that you can have one piece of content repurposed several ways, right? A piece of content that's part of your newsletter. That same piece of content is a video. That same piece of content is part of a letter put out to a geographical farm. You know, don't be afraid of repurposing the stuff that you put out there for one thing and sending it out in another format. Because I can tell you, a perfect example is our It's Not Soup Yet. Who's seen it? Good. Are you aware it's the same thing as the Written Advocate that you get on Friday? That we're now even attaching the video to the written thing, right? Same stuff, but no one realizes it because they ingest it differently. Because it takes stuff in when you read stuff is different than how you take stuff when you watch it on film. All right, so repurposing written versus video, A-OK. When I first got here, I taught a class on how to offer a free home valuation and make a whole bunch of money by getting in people's houses and striking up a friendship or conversation with them, relationship. There's nothing that says that you cannot provide potential clients a free evaluation of their home. Now, your services as a buying agent are not free, but your services as providing them with an evaluation are completely able to be free and is a great hook. And I don't see enough of this. People are trying to figure out, well, how do I get listings? We'll offer them something of value that they'll perceive as a value to them because they have a need. I need to figure out what my house is worth if I'm thinking about selling it, and get that out to people. It amazes me that because you put out 100 pieces of mail or 100 postcards and maybe get nothing, you think you failed. And I can tell you you haven't, because there are 100 people that now relate you to being in real estate. The problem is those 100 and that small amount of folks just don't have the need right now. Some people will put that little thing away. Other people will throw it away, and it's okay. But you've got to be able to have a reach to a lot of people to be able to have business coming in. Your net has to be cast far and wide for you to catch those people in need. Because let's face it, how many agents are in Vegas? Realtors, right? 18,000, pretty good number. Everybody knows 12 realtors, right? It used to be 10. I'll go up to 12. Yeah, right, yeah. But again, and let's talk about the family thing real fast. Not everybody likes to do business with family. I mean, let's just look at Thanksgiving table, right? That same dysfunctional group is the same people that you're trying to get business from, that you barely are able to have Thanksgiving dinner together without having some kind of, altercation at times. So make sure that, reach out to their friends and family, but also remember they have a hard time, and it's probably one of the hardest things, especially people that have known you for a long time, because they know you as a different person, the realtor persona that you are. To overcome that, don't let those things, one, interfere with asking for the business, and two, don't let it become such a burden on your heart because they haven't used you. All right? Because they haven't. If they're not using you, it's because they don't see you as the realtor that can help them out, and that's okay. Right? There's plenty of other people that you don't know that'll be more than happy to know you as the realtor that you are. All right. We've talked about social media platforms of Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. For God's sakes, stop telling people you sold the damn house in a day. How much value is it in that statement?
Zero.
Right? And you didn't sell it in a day. Right? You didn't have the damn listing meeting and be able to put it in and do all the things you need to do the prep work to get it in the MLS, right? But for God's sakes, why we sit there and devalue us and devalue yourselves by boasting how you just made out and this poor whoever's house that is, you just overcharged them because you got $10,000 for a day's work. Holy mackerel. It's great to advertise that you're successful, right? But you can say the same thing without having to put the time limit that you sold it okay? So stop it. Doing nothing, I'm gonna get on my soapbox. We do more damage to ourselves and our industry, ourselves, than any outside force of disruption can ever do. So stop it, all right? Because I know nobody here does it anymore, right? All right. Um, for those of you that have a hard time putting yourself out there, some help to get you moving in the right direction. Attending networking events. Um, Start building relationships with other people in the industry and outside the industry, right? If you don't know the people at Chicago Title, get to know them. If you don't know the people at Prosperity, get to know them. If you don't know the people in your other signature offices, get to know them, right? There's one of the greatest things about being in an office environment is the ability to have stuff happen. Tony Shea said he got more work done with people BSing in the hallways and having ideas go from one person to another and bouncing than he ever did in any kind of meeting room, right? So having that office content and having the people here and having those conversations and listening to what one person's doing, because I know where everybody's listening. Everybody's always listening to somebody else's conversation, and it's okay because you want to know what that person's doing, because you can rip it off too and do the same thing, and it's still not going to affect anybody's bottom line, right? Sharing of ideas and how people are doing the business is how we keep moving forward, because it takes a little tweak, right? I'll do something, somebody else will do the same thing, but with a little tweak, and it changes a little bit, right? So everything gets better over time.
I'll add to that too.
Hmm?
Like, perfect example. I was in my office the other day and Christian Grillo was there. And he was like, just talking about his team wasn't in office that day. And he speaks Spanish, I don't speak Spanish. I'm making my calls to paid leads, not cold calls. One of them comes up, it's like fully Spanish speaking. And I'm like, I don't speak Spanish. I'm like, 1 second. I walk over to his office, hand him my phone. He talks to him for 10, 15 minutes, gets all their numbers, gets a client out of it. 20 minutes later, I got home and call still. Another Spanish person, walk over, he got 2 deals out of just being in the office, from being there.
Yeah. So, I've been saying this since COVID, and I've already said it twice or 3 times already. Again, you don't get any additional business sitting at home by yourself, right? This is a person-to-person business, a belly-to-belly, and if you're not having interactions with other people, you're not working, right? This is not the business for you. If you have a hard time talking person to person and being able to listen to what they have to say and actually hear them so you can pick up what their needs are, you're going to have a hard road to hoe. But if you're someone that wants to be able to provide somebody with what they need, then for God's sake, you're in the perfect business of all times. It's going to be very, very good for you. All right. Websites. Now, in the olden days, you had to have your own website and all this malarkey about how great you are, more of an ego site than anything else. Nowadays, I think having a landing page that has some information on you that doesn't go too far and too far over, where you can capture who it is that came on your page, is really what you need, because that's what do we have a website out there for, right? It's one to help capture leads and provide some people with some information about yourself. But holy mackerel, you want to have something to be able to converse about when you talk with them, right? I mean, if you've given your whole life story in a book, and if they actually even read it, when you go over there for a listing appointment or have a buyer's consultation, what the hell are you going to talk about? Right? They're going to know more about you, and sometimes that's not always good, because what else are you going to say, right? So I'm one that having an office website, having a landing page, and, you know, for those that have for those that are clicking around and find you by happenstance, well, great. That happens like what, 1 in a million? But having the landing page that someone Googles you on is extremely important. All right. Digital advertising. I haven't done, Shelley, have you done any digital advertising for Prosperity? I don't know. Sure. You do? You know, look, having a Facebook ad that puts out to people and having the ability to drill down to somebody that's had a house for a while or whatever it is, and be able to have a free home valuation or the best postcard I've ever seen, and Wendy started this repeat, right? Was black and had a QR code on one side, right? And the other side was wondering how much your home's worth or something like that, right? And they would use the QR code, and as soon as you use the QR code, they've captured all your information. Right? That's the dirty secret about QR codes. But it works, right? So having an ad in Facebook that just has that is enough. You don't have to, it doesn't take much to help trigger someone to take that step if they've been thinking about taking that step. All right. Ads and newspapers. I don't know. You know, God save the newspaper, right? Everything's digital. I don't know, unless you're, I was about to say, unless you're like my age or older, then you're sort of used to still having the newspaper. I mean, even if you get the newspaper from the Review Journal, they only send you Sunday's thing, in print. Everything else is digital. So, I don't know. It's on here. I just thought because, and let me tell you, all this content I ripped off from somebody else. So don't blame me if this all sucks. You know, having your own branded merchandise, right? I remember when I had my company, I had First Real Estate Group pens, right, that everybody loved because they were the fatter, and all the escrow officers would have them and stuff. No clients ever had them, but everybody else had them. But it's nice to have. Free home staging. Has anybody done home staging? Well, okay, let me rephrase. Has anybody done home staging for homes under $800,000? That's what I thought. Okay. So let's face it, home staging has a place. Are you gonna spend? I don't know how much was it?
I've done digital home staging for houses under 800,000.
Okay.
Where we have virtual, where they'll
Right. So would you use Box Brownie or
exactly
Box Brownie? Right.
Or you good.
So for those that are on the lower end of the scale, that want to provide value to the clients, and they have a house full of garbage, and there's two thoughts on this, right? There's the thought that if you're going through the pictures online and it's been virtually staged, you have an idea, right, of what the house is supposed to look like. And they walk in and it's either completely barren or full of clutter. Do you think their mind shifts a little bit?
Yeah, I do.
I mean,
when I do the virtual, I always will put
both
side by
pictures?
side, the virtually staged with it labeled as virtually staged, and then the one with the empty, so that way they can see what it looks like empty and what potential.
is I've always, to me, I have handled a lot of homes that are not in the best of condition, right? And it's very rare for me not to put photos of all the garbage and stuff that's there and the condition that it's at. Um, but I had one that was full of somebody's personal property, and I didn't feel comfortable putting it in. I got a lot of calls because everybody wanted to see what the inside was. And I go, well, you gotta go see it. Sorry, there's a lot of stuff in there. So it works both ways. In today's world, you need to have the pictures of the interior staged as well as you can. No one expects $1 million staging on a $150,000 house. But I can guarantee you, no one will buy the $1 million house with $150,000 home staging, right? You've got to have the stuff in there to make sure that it looks good and conveys. Let's face it, staging is to help set a feeling for when they walk in the property, right? It's not just to fill up space, but you need to sell a feeling of what it would be like having that home as your own. Oh, how many people are doing a video walkthrough for their property when they take a listing? Is that on your list of things that you do for your listing? Okay. It should. Right? One, you need to do it for your client. Two, you need to do it for yourself. And three, you need to do it for the content that you're going to need to be putting out there on social media, right? So if you're not doing it and then you're not repurposing it, shame on you, right? Shame on all of you for not doing it. Important stuff. Open houses, special events at open houses, those kinds of things. We all understand that the open house is not meant to sell that particular house, correct? That's the big bad secret. You've heard it here first if you're watching this on YouTube and not a signature agent. It sometimes happens, but there's two reasons to do an open house. One, to help identify those that are looking to purchase a home and they happen to walk in so that you can then help them find the pathway to their property that they are going to buy. Two, you're interviewing for all the other homeowners that are now thinking about selling their house because somebody else just is put their home on the market. Right? So make sure that you understand what you're doing. If you have a geographical farm and are just sending stuff out and not doing open houses inside there where you're able to show off your brand and let everybody know who you are and let them think that you're busy, regardless of whether you are or aren't doing the things that you need to do to be a realtor, shame on you again. But do the activity. I'll say this. Do the activities that make a realtor successful, and you'll be successful. Right? It's a pretty damn stupid statement, but I just came up with it. But the activities, if you're in the business and doing those activities, I guarantee you stuff will happen. But if you're not doing the activities of a realtor, then whatever activities you're doing, that's what you're going to become, right? I won't even go there. All right. So, we're almost done. Okay, quick. Drones. Using a drone to help highlight a home is probably one of the best things that you can do. Well worth it. Everybody loves seeing that little either flying through the house if they're really good. It's a house that has spacious enough to be able to maneuver in there. But the one that starts at the doorway and goes up from there and sees everything, dramatic, do it. And again, repurpose it, right? Repurpose it, saying this is the kinds of things that I do for my clients. If you're interested, please give me a call. Always have a call to action in everything that we do. Building a personal brand and having a unique story. Every one of us is unique in our own way. It's just how much of that story you want to let the public know. So write it any way you want, but make sure it's your unique story. For those that will become very efficient in this stuff, making an ebook, offering advice to potential homeowners, right? In other words, writing a book, a digital book. Shelley wrote a book. I'm amazed, right? I wrote a book, and it was what every word meant, right? It was sort of like a dictionary for real estate. Pretty simple. Took somebody else's information and repurposed it, but I have a book, right? Terminology for real estate, I think it was called. CRMs, and we'll finish this off. CRM, who's using CRMs? All right. Thank God. Are you really using it? I mean, look, I got like this. I am sorta, right? I can tell I'm sort of using it. Oh yeah, I'm using it. Big difference. So look, use the CRMs. You're paying money for them. If you've got money to waste, send it my way. I'll take the extra 70 or 150 bucks, whatever it is, and we can call it a day. But Lord, it amazes me that people will go out and buy all these technological doodads, pay for them, and then just let them sit. Stop them. Make sure that you're putting the stuff in the CRM. Use that as when you wake up in the morning, your CRM comes on, and what the heck do I have to do today, right? Live and breathe out of that stuff so that you have the ability to make sure that you're touching all the lives that you need to touch on a daily basis so that you can be successful and help as many of those folks out there that need your help. With that, we'll call it a day. How do you think? You all good? Did I beat up on y'all? All right. I know it was the first time I've been serious on a meeting, right? So it happened.